Alright folks, it's time for our blue in the face playthrough for Xcom Chimera Squad. This is a strategy and tactics game in which we take control of a special unit of Xcom operatives that are part of the reclamation efforts that are occurring 5 years after the events of Xcom 2, War of the Chosen. Before we start shooting bad guys in the face and progressing through the story, we're going to go over the different mechanics that exist in the game so that as I play, my actions make a bit more sense. Missions in Chimera Squad are divided into encounters, and at the start of every encounter, you breach into a room. The first step is to determine the order your units breach into the room. This will determine the order that they shoot during the breach, but also the order they'll be placed on the timeline once the breach is done. From there, the game feels a bit more like traditional XCOM, but our soldiers and the enemies have to take their turns one at a time based on the order of the breach. There's plenty more nuance to talk about with regards to how the combat works, but we'll get to that later. Next, on the strategy side of things, our first objective is to take down one of 3 enemy factions in City 31. I'll be focusing on Grey Phoenix first. Finally, my starting squad features Claymore, Blue Blood, Terminal, and Cherub. If you've never played Chimera Squad, then those names mean nothing to you now, but they will once you see them in action. Now, there's a little bit more stuff to talk about, but I'm gonna let the NPCs explain the rest. So without further ado, let's get started.
Tonight, Mayor Nightingale perished in an explosion at City 31's Memorial Museum. The identity of her assailants is unknown at this time. The City Council asks citizens to remain...
So she gets vaporized the same day XCOM sends Chimera Squad to our city? You hear that voice in your head? That's me telling you to wake up!
Despite opposition, Mayor Nightingale's deciding vote brought the Reclamation Agency to the city. Without her support, Chimera Squad's continued presence is an open question.
Welcome to City 31. During Advent's occupation, the city was a fortress supporting an active starport. 5 years after XCOM won the war, it's home to aliens, hybrids, and humans alike. There's new industry, self-government, and local agriculture to support the varied populations. Against all odds, this city thrived after the war. There were no retributive attacks.
Until tonight.
We don't know that. Not yet. But we can find out.
Chimera Squad, heads up. Director's on the line from Xcom HQ.
Chimera Squad, I know you're still settling in, but this cannot wait. A short time ago, insurgents crashed the opening of City 31's Memorial Museum. They took Mayor Nightingale hostage. 3-1 PD attempted a rescue, but the insurgents triggered a plasma bomb. Everyone inside was lost. Yes, 3-1 PD should have requested our help, but dwelling on that is counterproductive. We need to focus on what we do next. A crude plasma bomb killed the mayor. The insurgents had no access to materials for that.
Does that mean they had outside help?
Most likely. There are 3 groups in City 31 with access to this kind of ordnance. Grey Phoenix is a group of primarily muton scavengers operating in the city. Recently, they've armed themselves with highly restricted weaponry. That puts them on our radar.
Director, these are local criminals. Isn't that 3-1 PD's jurisdiction?
True. The Reclamation Agency supports local police, but we're also required to recover dangerous material.
From those who would do the world harm, and each of those groups is neck deep in the stuff. So what next?
Focus on a single group. Investigate, dismantle their operations, and take them down.
Meanwhile, we look for any links to the mayor's death. Either way, a dangerous organization is off the streets.
Exactly. The city wants justice for Mayor Nightingale. This is how we help them achieve it.
Check it out. Headquarters sent us an assembly. And with the right patterns, we can build anything. Or we could with the latest version. What you're looking at is the extremely finicky 2038 model. It'll take time to stress test our patterns, but once we have them, we're good to go.
I'm authorizing Chimera Squad for special operations. Some ops provide useful resources for the squad. Keep an eye out for these opportunities.
When you aren't on mission, you need to maintain your skills, physical and mental. Training is the place to do it. It's also where you can adapt to any lasting wounds received in the field. So don't let those wounds linger. You'll pay for them in the long term. Our temporary field office has all the basics: weapons, comms, and ammunition. Supply is where we request everything else. As long as it's in the squad's budget, it's ours.
Chimera Squad, I'm Commissioner Maloof of 31 PD. To be blunt, I don't give a Chrysalit's ass about the politics. I'm glad you're in the city. 31 PD was stretched thin before the mayor's death. There are gaps to fill, and that's where you come in. When your agents can handle a situation better than my officers, I'll send the details your way. If the city council has a problem with that, I'll take the heat. They can't afford to fire me. I look forward to working with you.
Commissioner Maloof, not even going to say hello?
Blue blood is it now? Couldn't hack into 31 PD, so you had to fail upward?
You know how it is, Halia. I always pick the easy path.
The department is happy to see one of its own back in town.
Good to be back. We'll do right by you, Commissioner.
Of that, I have no doubt.
Okay, we finally finished all of what I consider the tutorial stuff for Chimera Squad, and it's time for us to get into the proper game. We are currently looking at the map of City 31, which is a lot smaller in scale than what we're used to looking at in XCOM games. Normally we're trying to defend the world and the human race from extinction from alien invasion, but now we're just trying to make the city a safer place. But it's still cool though. The yellow missions are side missions, and the purple missions are main story missions. And I'm going to select the one that I do based on the rewards that are available. This one over here is giving a target analyzer, which is a breach item. It's not a particularly strong item, and it's not difficult for us to acquire later down the road. We would just have to do an assembly project for it, so I'm not really worried about that. The main story mission is going to give us 2 days towards the operation reveal and 30 credits. So you'll see here, this mission is hidden for 5 more days. If I do the protect hydroelectric plant mission, that will make the Old Town mission available sooner, but I don't really need that. Finally, we have tech support. This awards 40 intel. That is the best reward that's on the board right now. So what I'm going to do also is plop down a field team, which is another part of the strategy layer. And I'm going to go for finance, 15 credit income every Friday, because there aren't that many reliable ways to gain credits. The rewards from missions is pretty low. I mean, 30 credits, it's not that much. That's enough for like 1 med kit or something. It's not good. So having a consistent income every 7 days of game time, that's going to be helpful for us. Intel is also insanely valuable, but it's a lot easier to come by. This mission rewards 40, and if we subdue enough targets, we can guarantee an additional 20. So that's a big deal. And now finally, I don't think there's actually some stuff that I can purchase. I can buy a smoke grenade, a med kit, or a ceasefire grenade. All of these items have different value for us. But for now, I'm gonna save my money because we've already got a decent smattering of items. Terminal is our healer, and she has a medkit equipped already. Blue Blood is essentially our single target DPS, and Claymore is our AoE DPS. But you know what? I'm going to buy another medkit because they serve a dual purpose. They make your units immune to poison attacks. And the faction that we're fighting, Grey Phoenix, they have a lot of snakes, and the snakes, they poison you with their different attacks. So having our soldiers holding onto a med kit is very useful. So this is a difficult mission. There's a security door and a regular door. One projected encounter shouldn't be too difficult for us, even though it says it is.
I spotted the target device. Disable when ready.
All right, looks like we're going to be disabling a target device. These are a bit on the easier side because you can limit the amount of pain that you face pretty effectively going through here. So we have a secure entrance. There are fewer aggressive enemies present at this entrance, or lead by example. First unit through this entrance does 3 additional damage during the breach, and the last unit through is marked until the end of the encounter. Mark is a debuff that increases the enemy chance to hit by 20, and that does kind of stink. But I'm going to put Cherub on there because Cherub is our tank. He's got that riot shield, and he's got an ability called kinetic shield that allows him to mitigate the damage from a single attack. So I'm going to constantly apply that to myself to take the extra punishment, and then we'll stack everybody else on the other door. I'm going to have Blue Blood going in last, so he's going to be cleanup for us. He had an item called the Trank Rounds, and that can be used to incapacitate targets so that we can potentially extract intel from them after the mission. Alright, let's see what we got. We have a lot of targets. The one aggressive enemy here, we have a very low percentage chance to hit it. And we don't have really great opportunities on anything here, but I'm going to take this shot against the Python because it's an unarmored target compared to this one with that yellow pip right there. That's armor, and that's going to mitigate 1 point of damage. Let's hope I connect. Yes, we did connect, and we got a kill. Very, very juicy start. So we've got a bunch of armored targets, and in fact, every target in here is armored. So we're going to have a lot of our damage output mitigated by that. See, even that shotgun blast, it didn't do as much as it could have. The last thing that I'm going to do is... I know I can kill him, but that's not exactly what I want to do. Cover Rush is a very valuable asset. It increases your defense and dodge by 75 until the agent's first turn. Blue Blood is not going to take his turn for a very long time, so having him with that extra defense for multiple actions from the enemy is going to be insanely useful. And that Hitman is going to be pretty easy for us to take out. I'm not worried about it. Now, I'm actually really glad that I got Cherub a med kit because he took some damage from the initial breach from that aggressive enemy, and I need the healing. So what I'm going to do is use that kinetic shield that I was telling you about, and that's going to allow me to mitigate damage from a single attack. And then... this room is not very safe, and that's putting it lightly, but there's not much I can do to get out of here, so I'm going to use preparation. This is going to increase my defense and dodge by 30 and 50 respectively, and it is going to actually advance me on the timeline. So normally Cherub is nowhere on this list except for at the top, but if I use preparation, I come back in again at number 6. So let's watch this play out. The adder is obviously going to come in and try to do some dirty stuff. It tried to punch me, but it failed because of the kinetic shield. So now I am exposed, so the next thing that tries to attack me, if it connects, it is going to do damage. So that's scary. But it looks like they're not going for Cherub. They are going to connect, which is unfortunate. We are going to use our healer, though, as often as we need to. One thing that I've been learning about XCOM Chimera Squad from the time that I've spent with it is that the game is... it throws a lot of enemies at you. And when I say a lot, it's almost absurd how many targets XCOM Chimera Squad sends your way consistently. And while some of the abilities that you have access to might seem like they're overpowered, and some of your characters might seem like they're overpowered, they have all these tools in order to deal with the insurmountable forces that you are constantly having to contend with. So we're back in the driver's seat with Cherub, and we're going to make a probably very defensive move with him because there's not much offense that I can do right now. This encounter is very, very tight. It's very, very tight. There's not a lot of space for me to move around and do anything super effective. I think I'm going to essentially have Cherub to kite around this adder in this room. That seems like it's a decent thing that he can do right now. And when the big opportunity presents itself, then he will go in for a big smash. What's really cool about him is every time he absorbs an attack with his kinetic shield, it is boosting the damage of his melee strike. So that's really nice. Now, Claymore is holding a smoke bomb, which I'm going to throw out, and this is going to increase the defense of any units that are standing in it. It's going to make us harder to hit, because we don't have great cover in our current position, so being harder to hit is very good. And a smoke bomb, or all abilities rather, are free actions, so I still have the ability to take 2 more actions. So I'm going to use my first action to throw out my shrapnel bomb, and that has now been added to the timeline, and it's going to detonate in three turns. And then from here, I'm going to take a shot at this bruiser, because my shrapnel bomb only does 4 damage total. So if this connects, it's going to weaken the bruiser, and now he is going to die when the shrapnel blows up.
Tracking target weapon.
Ouch. Even with the smoke and the cover, I still got shot by that hitman, so that's kind of annoying. Let's see if we can take him out with blue blood. Got him. Now, the cool thing about Blue Blood is, unlike every other character in the game, shooting somebody does not end your turn immediately. It just consumes 1 action point. So now I'm going to make a big play here. I'm going to use the once per mission action team up, and I'm going to use it on Claymore. This is going to raise the person to the next list on the timeline. So Claymore was somewhere else on the timeline. He's now been brought back up to the number 2 slot. So what I'm going to do from here is take a shot on the trooper. Now both of those guys are in kill territory. So that shrapnel is going to take him out. So now we can kind of do the exact same thing again for this legionary over here. He is going to move when it's his turn, but if he chooses not to move, then he's going to die. Maybe. Actually, he might not die. I'll just take a shot and see what happens. This feels like a good moment to just take a random shot. 64% chance to hit is not bad, but apparently it's not good enough. All right, he is going to move out of the radius of the explosion, which is fine. Terminal's getting shot again, but this time the shot's going to miss. And the adder is still going after Cherub. It hasn't learned that it cannot beat my kinetic shield.
Shield charged.
I maybe could have tried to bait that grenade and maybe thrown it in the path where I thought the legionary was going to go. That's a finesse that I have not yet acquired with that ability. It has a lot of potential, but it's not super easy to use. There's a learning curve. I have to reload. Oh, that's probably kind of bad. All right, I'm just gonna I'm gonna be able to kill both of the enemies on this turn, so my misplay is not a huge deal. I'm gonna go smack this guy in the face, and then it's gonna be Cherub's turn, and he's going to smack the adder that's been harassing him this whole time. But because I don't know if there's gonna be any reinforcements, I'm still gonna go through the proper procedure and give myself a kinetic shield. And now I'm gonna bash the adder in the face. Well, bam! 5 damage. Beautiful. Alright, I guess we're just beating up on this last guy. We're all going to run up and try and subdue him. Subdue has a 100% chance to hit, and it can do either 2 or 3 damage. And subduing targets is non-lethal. He's been knocked unconscious, so when we get back to the base, we are going to waterboard him for information. They obviously don't show you the waterboarding process, but that's what we're doing, right? I mean, we've captured 3 enemies, and there's a 60% chance to earn 20 intel from them. How else are we going to make them talk? What, are we going to tickle their feet? No, we're going to interrogate them. And sure, maybe we'll interrogate them politely, but XCOM has never been known for being particularly graceful. So the mission rewards wound up being really juicy for us. We got the 40 base intel and 20 earned from capturing the enemies. So whether we tickled their feet or waterboarded them, it was a success.
Reports confirm significant unrest in City 31. Without the city's trust, Reclamation cannot investigate effectively.
Anything we can do about that?
Results can earn back the public trust. We're here to keep the city safe, so there's no better way than doing just that.
Celio Dash, please say something. There's an NPC named Celio Dash that is going to start talking very soon, and I don't want to start talking before Celio starts talking. Maybe he's not going to say anything. Whatever. We're back on the city map, and Director Kelly was just telling us about the unrest that is forming in the city, and that is a mechanic that we have to manage very, very carefully. As the unrest increases in districts, when it reaches 5 out of 5, it unlocks a special, very difficult mission specific to 5 out of 5 unrest, but also every day that a district stays at unrest, city anarchy increases, and when that anarchy reaches 14, we lose the game. So that's not good. We have to really be careful about managing that mechanic so that we don't fail. But before we turn our attention back towards the big picture stuff, we're going to go into the assembly to select a new project. We finished the Android personnel project, so that will allow us to deploy a robot on an encounter. If a agent died in a previous encounter, they can be very valuable. So they sound like they're a little bit niche, but when they are needed, it's very good to have them upgraded. And that's what I'll say about that. But now we have to choose a new research, and I'm going to go for modular weapons. This will allow us to put mods on our weapons, and it'll allow us to purchase the autoloader, the stock, and the expanded magazine. They all have different functionalities. We'll talk about them when we get them, but they are very, very helpful to us. And Verge has one more day of training to go through, and then I'm going to put him into the assembly to speed up the process of projects going forward. I'm probably going to do something like that. Next up, we have to give out a bunch of promotions in the armory. So let's head over there and do that.
I'm sure you already know your way around the armory. Each of you has a locker here. But it's also where we announce field promotions, which I'm doing now.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. I realize now there should have been a cake.
I would have appreciated a cake as well. What we can also do while we're in the armory is tint the armor of our soldiers. We don't have nearly as much customization as we had in previous XCOM games, which is actually very disappointing, but it is what it is. It would be nice if we could at least change our pants and maybe give our soldiers more padding to give it a nice personalized touch. Maybe even just a hat. I would have appreciated a hat, but we don't have one. It is what it is. So our first promotion is automatically selected for us, and for Blue Blood, it is Lancer Shot. Blue Blood fires his Lancer pistol at a target, ignoring all cover bonuses. This is a breach-only ability, but it is very powerful. Next up for Cherub, we have another breach-only ability, Phalanx. Enemies focus their fire on Cherub, ignoring other XCOM units at this breach point, block all damage, and gain 1 charge for each attack, 1 use per mission. It's very strong, but a very limited use. Refresh. Gremlin heals all allies at their breach point for 2 HP, 1 use per mission. Very powerful. Again, single use. And I forgot to dye the colors. I like making my medic units red. And Cherub, he's got a blue shield, so we'll give him a blue shirt. It matches. Finally, our explosives expert. We're not wearing purple pants. I have nothing against it if you like purple pants, but they don't look good on Claymore. That's just my opinion. But yeah, we'll give him the kind of military colors. We got the green, we got the brown, and he's got some very thick pads on that are a dark gray color, sort of a leatherish color. And let's look at our agent abilities. Concussive Charge. Claymore detonates a powerful charge, rupturing all enemies near the breach point, usable on wall breach points once per mission. So that rupture effect increases the target's damage taken for, I'm not sure how many turns, but it increases their damage taken. It might be only for the breach. It might last after that. We'll have to experiment. Now we got to choose what we do. Because I have 1 field team installed already, I can use a field team ability to reduce the unrest in one of my districts. So I'm going to use it. It has a 4-turn cooldown. I can reduce the unrest in either Riverside or Switchyard. Let's just do Riverside. And I'm also going to install another field team. We're going to go with a second finance field team. So now that we have 2 of those installed, we get 30 credits every Friday. We got a ways to go before the next one, but it is what it is. And also, we're going to take this situation investigation for 40 intel. So these are like just selectable rewards. You don't have to do anything fancy. You just click on it, you get the rewards, and 40 intel is a big payout for us.
An emergency session of the City Council voted 5-4 against a citywide curfew. Councilor Parada spoke for the majority.
There is no need for such extreme measures. Mayor Nightingale's death is a tragedy, but to shut down the city due to fear would reject the very principles by which she lived.
3-1 PD remains on high alert throughout City 31. Commissioner Maloof released the following statement.
Every 3-1 PD officer grieves for Mayor Nightingale. Rest assured, we will bring those responsible to justice.
More as it develops. Channel 37, Celio Dash reporting.
A really, really nice touch that they added with Chimera Squad is Celio Dash and his news reports. It makes the experience feel infinitely more personalized than what happened in the previous XCOM titles where you're trying to save the world. You do get to deal with the interpersonal relationships between the different main characters like Central Officer Bradford and Dr. Teigen and Shen and Dr. Valen, etc., but we don't get to hear as much about how the people are responding to stuff. And Chimera Squad makes a really strong attempt, and I think a solid attempt, at building the world and allowing the player to understand what it's like to be a civilian or an alien hybrid living on Earth. And I think that's pretty cool. So I currently have 55 intel, and I actually think I have I do have enough for yet another field team. So why don't we set one up? I'm getting a lot of intel from missions and the situations, so I'm not going to install the security one yet. I'm going to go for Illyrium, plus 10 Illyrium every Friday. And Illyrium is used for assembly projects, especially the more advanced ones. So that's going to be an important resource for us. Now let's pick our next mission. This one gives the extra padding armor mod and 25 intel. Extra padding is not that great. It just increases your HP by 1. And over here, we have an advanced scope. We're definitely going for that. That's going to increase our aim by 10 on whatever weapon we equip it to. So that's very, very strong. Oh, I have an agent idle. Who's not doing anything? Oh, Verge, right, because he just completed the thing. Okay, so we're in a weird situation right now. The assembly project is going to complete in one turn, no matter what I do. Even if I put Verge in there, it's not going to speed things up at all. So what I'm going to do with him is send him off to do one of these special ops. I can either choose to have him farm for some credits, he can farm for intel, or he can farm for Illyrium. I currently have 10 credits, which is very low, so I'm going to have him do the glad handling special ops. It's going to take 3 days, and when he's done with it, he'll bring back 75 credits. That's pretty good. And now for the mission, so we can go get our advanced scope.
Hostile forces may attempt to guard a mission-critical device that needs to be stopped. Destroy the device in question when authorized. Keep your distance if you can.
Destroy the device in question. These missions are fun and not too difficult. We've got 2 projected encounters, so it's going to be a bit of a long one, but we are prepared for it because we have our medic, 2 medkits, and the tranq rounds, smoke bomb, and the breaching charge, which we may not get to use because the projected breach options, door, keypad door, and event. It's not listing any walls that we get to blow up. I feel like every wall should be explodable, but that's a discussion for another day. We've got 3 different entrances, but we can only make use of 2 of them because we don't have any agents eligible for the vent. First unit through this entrance gets plus 1 armor for the entire encounter. We're going to send Cherub through that, and we're going to put him in some precarious situations because we know he'll be stronger. And over for the rear guard, the last unit through this entrance gets plus 1 armor. We will give that spot to Claymore because he uses a shotgun. He does have to get kind of close to use his shrapnel bomb. It's a mid-range item. This should be fine. And we're going to have Cherub as the first one in, and the rest of them will go as 2, 3, and 4. So we see the timeline over there. We get that armor from our bonuses, and there are no aggressive enemies, so that's nice too. Cherub is also going to be by himself again, but he has the ability to defend himself very well. Alright, let's see. We have vision on 4 enemies. This trooper up here is going to be problematic. Enemies that have a height advantage over you have an aim bonus over you as well. So I want to try and focus him down. I'm hoping the guys at the other breach point can see him too. It'd be really nice if I could eliminate him. All right, yeah, we do have... Yeah, this is a guaranteed kill. Nice. Knocked him unconscious as well because of those trank rounds. Oh. We'll take a shot on the adder. The adder is an irritating enemy. It's not particularly difficult, but it's annoying. And for the last one, I could take a roll on this 81 because that's actually pretty good. What the hell? I missed. There's a very delicate balance in all XCOM games between trying to get lucky with a decent percentage and taking a more defensive option that is guaranteed to at least make you safer. You know what I mean? Because one thing that I've been grappling with in Chimera Squad is just how offensive should I be and how much should I play things like a traditional XCOM game. Because I don't think in my other playthroughs I've been doing a good job of playing Chimera Squad like a traditional XCOM game. I think I've been playing too fast and loose, not using cover properly, and just acting stupid. So I'm going to try to correct that this go around. I am going to make a calculated risk, though, right now. There are 4 enemies on the field, though. Where's the 4th one? Oh, it's up there. My risk is no longer as calculated as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to use this ability preparation on Cherub again. It's going to bring him up in the timeline. Alright, so we got this Legionnaire doing things. He does have our guys flanked right away, and there's nothing I could have done to really prevent that. I possibly could have used cover rush instead of being so aggressive with my breach, but that's just unfortunate, really. There's nothing I could do to fight against stuff like that. There's nothing I can do to change my behavior to deal with things like that. But what I can do here is try and make use of the fact that Blue Blood can take 2 shots per turn. This adder has 1 HP. We got the connect. We knocked it unconscious. And there's another snake up here at the top. We've got a good hit chance, but we're also running the risk of being flanked by this guy. So I'm not going to take the shot. I'm just going to run. Well, here's what makes this awkward. Even if I run, I've still got a guy that's not safe. So why don't we just blow our team up early to make ourselves a bit safer. So that's going to bring Claymore up to the next position. And I am still going to use Preparation for the 30 defense and 50 dodge. Preparation actually is stronger than being in low cover, and I'm pretty sure it still applies even if you're flanked. I really hope it does. At the very least, the dodge will apply even if you're flanked, but I'm not entirely sure if the defense applies if you get flanked. If somebody knows in the comments, you be sure to tell me. I would appreciate it. And we have a bonus objective to collect as well, and we only have 2 more turns to try and collect it. So maybe I just go all in with a big play here and throw out the smoke bomb for even more defense. And then I take a shot on the adder, or the python rather, that is above me. Nice. That adder is going to die to the shrapnel bomb when it blows up. Yeah, my guys are very safe right now inside the smoke. There's not really anything that can hurt us while we're like this. So we're going to send out Safeguard to heal Claymore. And I have a shot on the adder, but it's going to die to the grenade. I got a 50-50 on the bruiser. I don't really want to take that, so I'm going to prep. That timeline manipulation coming in clutch. I think the timeline feels like something that you got to respect. If you disrespect the timeline, then you're going to get fucked up. That's how I feel about it. And I'm trying to respect the timeline. Now, this Legionnaire is going to be the next enemy that gets to take an action. And he's pretty full up right now on health. I don't want to take unnecessary risks. So here's what we'll do. We'll move into this covered position. And this is covered from the Bruiser, but not from the Legionnaire. But I do have a kinetic shield, so I can soak up 1 shot from the Legionnaire, if he gets to make it. Because Blue Blood is actually about to take his actions, and my first action is going to be not shooting this guy. It is going to be a move. Nowhere great, actually, but I am going to move so that I'm in... I suppose it doesn't matter if I move to cover or not, because... No, it does. It's still going to matter, because...
Headed this way.
If I'm flanked, then I'll give the enemies a critical hit bonus. What's that? Oh! I didn't realize he was standing next to something explosive. Well, that worked out better than expected. I'm gonna Overwatch. Overwatch in Chimera Squad is significantly weaker than Overwatch in other versions of XCOM because it does not have unlimited range. That's not necessarily true. Overwatch didn't have unlimited range in other XCOM games either, but the field of view for it was not specified for the player. You just activated Overwatch, and if anything walked in your general line of sight, then you would take a shot. But now you have to direct the line of sight much more acutely. We are taking a decent amount of damage here, but I'm not stressed about it because I can heal my guys up. But even still, I don't like taking damage, so let's not mince words about that. So we got the bonus. Now we can try to get rid of this guy. Oh, I kind of forgot I threw that. I mean, I have my kinetic shield, so it's not going to hurt me, but... I'm going to take the damage. I know this is dumb. But I want the charge on my shield. It'll come into play in the next rounds. It'll help me. There we go. We took that nice and slow. We did take damage, but nobody's bleeding out, so we're okay. The chances of getting a scar, which is a mechanic we'll talk about when we come to it, is increased, I think, almost to a guarantee if your unit starts bleeding out. So we got 2 entrances to go through. First unit through the entrance is guaranteed to land their shot. We're going to put the shotgun on that, and then we'll just follow up with the rest of the squad. Terminal is going to be last. Nobody's going through this other door. I want my units more together this go around. Actually, things have been really interesting with Cherub by himself. Like, I don't like the idea of him being rooted for a round, but I do like the idea of Cherub being by himself to almost act as a distraction for the enemies, because he's a juicy target. So let's try that again and see how it feels. This time we have 2 aggressive enemies, one for the other breach point, and actually it looks like they're both on the other breach point. I'm gonna try and use the phalanx ability. I'm gonna try to use the phalanx ability to get them to target me. Hopefully it works. I've had instances where it doesn't work. Now we've got our 100% chance to hit with our shotgun. Let's find a nice juicy target to blast. The paladin uses buffs on his allies, so he'd be a good target to get weak, so I can take him out easier if he does buff somebody. So he's nice and weak. All right, we still ended up getting a shot. The shot did not go out on Blue Blood, who was using cover rush, but that's okay. And this guy is trying to get the ultimate height advantage, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Blow it to smithereens.
Also, we are now in the presence of the official objective. Reinforcements will come unless we destroy the objective. So that is our main priority right now. So we're gonna start making some big moves. Claymore needs a shield because he took some damage, and his positioning is not great. Now, while Cherub doesn't have a shield, I'm gonna preparation on him. And none of our guys are in full cover right now, so that's really bad. But there's XCOM Chimera Squad is kind of stingy with the full cover, if I'm honest. And maybe I'm just remembering with rose-colored glasses the amount of full cover that was in XCOM 2 and XCOM Enemy Unknown. But in Chimera Squad, it seems like everything is half cover. Alright, well, in any case, it is now time for us to throw our shrapnel around. And because we have to destroy the objective, I want to get as much damage on it as possible. I hope that hits it. Because the thing with the shrapnel bomb that makes it simultaneously amazing but also trash is that it does not hit enemies through cover. So I don't know if it's going to get disrupted by the object that's kind of interfering with its pathing. And we are going to activate preparation again. Legionnaire moving up aggressively. What's he going to do, though? Demolition. He destroyed our cover. Now, thankfully, there are no enemies along this pathway that can take advantage of that, but it's still scary to have our cover destroyed. Like, this bash is very safe because I have the kinetic shield, so I am going to absorb one shot. So let's go for it. Severely damage that target.
Thought I had it.
Okay, the shrapnel blew up and it did deal damage to the objective. Now we're going to start really chunking this thing. I'm going to use Deadeye. We did 6 damage. The objective is basically dead, so we can turn our focus somewhere else now. Okay, this guy is not comfortable with the ultimate height advantage, so he's going to come down. And he's going to soak up my kinetic shield. No big deal. It makes me stronger. The pain is my pleasure. No, what? No, I don't know what that means. We're going to throw our shrapnel bomb to deal with this Legionnaire. And it's going to do 4 damage to him, so I am actually safe from him now. I don't even have to worry about him. And from this position, we've got an 80% on the adder. The reinforcements have not been signaled yet, so I'm not worried about dealing with the objective just yet, but it's still in the back of my mind. Nice hit on the adder. Alright, Cherub getting crit in the back by the Paladin. He saw that juicy opportunity and didn't want to use any of his psionic abilities. Hello, more explosive barrels. That's going to be my first target. Oh, that's a propane tank. The king of the hill must be around because he sent us a gift. Alright, so that's one shot, and the next shot I want to do something semi-risky. I'm going to put a lot of faith right now in my ability to wipe the rest of the enemies without them being able to act. My first action is going to be a subdue on this bruiser.
Hostile is down and
Subdue ignores armor, which is amazing. Next, we're going to move in on the Paladin and bash him in the face. Oh, I should have done it to the trooper. I'm so dumb. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I should have done it to the trooper. I wasn't paying attention. I got cocky. This happens to me all the time. I got overconfident. Now my soldiers got scars. Oh, I feel bad. Oh, I feel so bad. I should have done it to the trooper. Oh, it could have been so perfect. It could have been so perfect. But I messed it up. Damn. Alright, well. That's okay. We got light wounds on 3 people, a normal wound on blue blood because I freaking messed up. 4 enemies captured, 80% chance to earn 20 intel. We're about to start tickling some feet until we get the information that we need. Alright, our techniques are successful. We got a total of 45 intel, 30 Illyrium from that bonus objective that was in the first encounter, and an advanced scope. Absolutely beautiful. And we just completed modular weapons. We're sitting pretty.
Spontaneous vigils broke out in honor of Mayor Nightingale, whose recent death still roils City 31. Thousands of citizens wish to pay their respects to our city's first freely elected mayor, said one attendee.
She got it, you know? It wasn't about making things better for me and mine. Hybrid, alien, human, she did her best for all of us.
The city council voted unanimously to hold elections within the month. Councilor Parada released the following statement.
Mayor Nightingale once said, "Governance does not need popular approval, but it requires the people's consent."
This is Celio Dash with Channel 37.
And there we go. There are definitely racial undertones, if you want to call it that, in the story of Chimera Squad, because there are essentially 3 races living within the city, or you can think of them almost as 3 factions, because it's technically more than 3 races. We have the aliens, which would probably constitute the Vipers, the Mutons, and the Sectoids. Then we have the hybrids, which are the former Advent soldiers, and then we have the humans that are just humans, and they're all living together in this one city. And the Mayor Nightingale, who was killed in the first mission of the tutorial, she represented a figure that all 3 different races, if you will, looked to for guidance. Like, she won the vote, the first vote for the city. So she was an important figure, and now she's gone. And we're trying to figure out who killed her and why. With that said, before we start clicking around like crazy, I just want to make sure that I've done everything that I need to do. I have to choose a new assembly project. So we've got the autoloader, stock, and expanded magazine. The next project I want to do is for weapon optics. This is going to take 3 turns, unfortunately, which is pretty hefty. I think it gets reduced by 1 turn if there's an agent in it, but right now our only free agent is working on Spec Ops, so we can't put him in the assembly. That's okay, though. He's going to come back with a bunch of credits that we can use to buy some stuff. From here, though, what I want to do is the situation for 50 intel, because we are not low on intel, but by getting another 50 intel, I can install a 4th field team. And by having 4 field teams, I gain access to the quarantine ability, which allows me to freeze district unrest, which just gives me more control over the city anarchy statistic. So let's do it.
Today, the City Council appointed Councilor Parada as Deputy Mayor until the upcoming elections. Councilor Vorthu expressed his displeasure after the session.
He opposed the bulk of Mayor Nightingale's policies. A new title won't change that.
The Deputy Mayor responded.
This is a trying time for us all. My goal is to keep the lights on until we elect a new mayor. No more, no less.
We'll keep you informed of any developments. Celio Dash reporting for Channel 37.
Okay, so I'm going to install my next field team in the downtown area. And I'm going to do another finance one just to get the... yeah, I'm going to do another finance one because I want to be able to equip my squad with the items that I want to equip them with, and I don't want credits to be a limitation on that. So now we have 45 credit income every Friday, and we also have access to the quarantine ability, which I'm going to use on Old Town, so it does not go immediately to 5 out of 5 unrest. And now we have to pick a new mission, but before we do that, I'm going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we're going to kill some more aliens. And there we go. That's going to do it for part 1. There is a lot more stuff for us to tackle in Chimera Squad. We're going to have a good mixture of dealing with the strategy layer and trying to keep the city under control, and also the tactical layer where we are kicking some alien booty. So there's a lot of fun stuff to do, so stay tuned for more. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel more than you already do just by watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting, you can head over to patreon.com/iBluairJgR to become a patron. As always, the name of the game is Xcom Chimera Squad. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.